season of basketball in New York history. We've got reporters on the ground in New York. But first, let's hear from 2026 NBA champs. Here's Mike Brown.
I want to thank everybody. I'm proud of everybody for helping accomplish this great feat. The energy today and all around New York is off the charts. And I want to thank you all for it. Let's keep this energy going, baby, because this championship is about you guys. This is New York City's championship. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. Let's go one time. Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? I love you, New York.
The number one hit on Spotify, I'm sure, in New York is Who Let the Dogs Out. Vinny Goodwill is in New York City at the celebration that just wrapped up a little while ago. Listen, Vinny, we know everything that went down there. We just heard from Jalen Brunson. What was his message, though, to the fans overall?
Jalen Brunson's message, George, to the whole fans was don't pay attention to what the naysayers are saying. We know the doubts that have surrounded Jalen Brunson since he entered the NBA. When he got to New York, people said that he couldn't be the number one guy on a championship team, and he dispelled all of that with this dominant championship run. Other than that, it was a very live and festive atmosphere. There were people hanging off of light fixtures in the Manhattan area, people hanging out of windows. Even with everything that James Dolan said yesterday about not wanting to go into the second apron, it did nothing to dampen the mood of the players, even the guys like Mitchell Robinson and Landry Shamet. They were in great moods on the stage today. Alicia Keys came out there and performed her hit song that has basically made a revival 16 years later. Essentially 53 years in the making, a huge party, nothing damp about today. Even the rain that we all had to brave this morning did nothing to dampen the moods of the New York Knicks or the fans who came out here, probably in the millions.
All right, so let me ask you this. Okay, you were there the whole morning. I don't know how early you got there, but how would you best describe the day in totality? Like, what stuck out to you?
6 a.m. That's what stuck out to me, 6 a.m., because that's what time I got here this morning. But last night, George, I checked into my hotel about 10:30. It was people on Broadway staking out positions for this ticker tape parade. They were waiting 10 hours, 12 hours in advance because they have been wanting this for so long. It's been the biggest family reunion, barbecue. Everybody's invited to the cookout. That's what type of atmosphere this has been today. It took a long time for even fans to leave this City Hall area after everything had ended. The players didn't want to leave. Everybody wanted to soak all of this in. Like I said, George, it's been a huge, huge day for all New Yorkers involved.
Awesome stuff, Vinny. Thank you so much for all your coverage all season long and, of course, today. All right, Vincent Goodwill with us here. Here's the deal. A look at the current 2027 NBA title odds at DraftKings Sportsbook. The Knicks have the fourth shortest odds at plus 650. The Spurs are just ahead of the Thunder at the top. And the Celtics are just ahead of the Knicks. Then a huge drop-off at number 5 with the Nuggets at 25-1. Now welcome in our friend Ramona Shelburne, Bobby Marks, our front office insider. Ramona, you were in San Antonio when the Knicks clinched, right?
Yeah.
So I guess what stood out to you when you think about this run?
Well, there's so many things, but I think also, how do you succeed in life, in any spot you're in any job you're in? You have people around you that you believe in and that believe in you. And you saw two men up on the stage. There's William Wesley. We all know him as Worldwide West. There's Leon Rose. Those guys met 40, 50 years ago in a shoe store in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Wes sold a young Leon Rose a pair of Dr. J's. That was how they met. They've been together for years, doing business together for years as agents at CAA, and now is in the Knicks front office. They went and found Jalen Brunson, who Leon Rose was Jalen Brunson's dad's first agent. Okay, he was his first client. They've been together for decades. Then they went and got his college teammates. You could not have surrounded Jalen Brunson with more people who made him feel comfortable and who believed in him and who lifted him up. And I think that's when you look back on this Knicks championship, you think it's a lesson in organizational success. It's a lesson in organizational behavior. How in any job, how do you succeed? You have people who believe in you and people who make you your best.
Bobby, let's bring you in here. So there's going to be an inevitable conversation about trying to repeat. We haven't had one in 8 years. So there are no guarantees, even though they were on that stage. No one actually said, hey, we're going back. We're going to win it again next year. How well are the Knicks set up to maybe run it back next year and try to win a championship?
Well, certainly the starting five is under contract, and I think we heard from James Dolan on the day before the parade talk about the second apron here. And listen, the priority for New York when we get into we're in the off season already, is to retain your own free agents. So when you look at Landry Shamet and Mitchell Robinson and Jose Alvarado, there is a priority there. That's as much as we talk about Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. The strength of this team right now during the playoffs was part of this bench here. So that's the priority for New York, and for them to repeat, they're going to have to go out and bring those reserves back.
All right, real quick, and we have that sound that you referenced there, but Ramona, what do you think the biggest challenge will be for the Knicks?
I mean, look, it's obviously bringing everyone back, and Karl Anthony Towns is due for a contract extension this summer. He could have gotten it during this year as well. It's a lot of money. I think that tacks on more to their books in the future as well. So you have to think about, can you keep this team together? But it's really just all the outside noise. It's everybody saying, we just looked at that graphic. They're not even the favorites next year. It's this idea that you can still get better. Is this group the group that you keep together? I think they've proven it, and yet you have to just keep proving it. And James Dolan said, I want to bring everyone back. There's going to be some financial pressures. You could make some changes to the margin. But I think the Towns extension is probably the biggest thing they're going to have to answer, is how much they're going to give him. Brunson obviously took less, and that's what helped allow this team. Does that put pressure on Towns? All those decisions and discussions are waiting for the Knicks once they get past this glow.
All right, listen, James Dolan, we referenced that. He was on the Carton Show yesterday on WFAN Radio in New York. And he threw a slight curveball, I guess, into the Knicks offseason.
We're willing to stretch, right? But there's certain things in the NBA that you have to be, suicidal to do, and we're not going to do those. One of them was called the second apron. Cannot go into the second apron. That's up to Leon, right?
He's making all the decisions. You're just stroking checks, right?
Yeah, I'm just telling him how big of a check I can write, right? I'll write as big of a check as possible, but I can't write a check that goes into the second apron.
Got it.
All right, Bobby, is James Dolan right to avoid the second apron at all costs, as he pointed out?
Can I give him partial credit for his answer here, George?
Sure.
When he talks about the second. Listen, the second. I think there's a lot of misinformation about the second apron. The second apron is for teams that do not have. You don't want to be in there if you're not a championship level roster, because it restricts you from adding from the outside, from going out and making a trade and taking back more money and signing free agents. But it doesn't restrict you to retain your own free agents. And certainly we've talked about the three that are a priority for them. And listen, if they don't want to retain them and they want to, avoid the second apron, then they're going to play the veteran minimum market there with their bench here. So I would say, yes, he's partially right, but when you have a championship level team like New York does, you do everything you do to go out and try to repeat here.
Ramona, you mentioned some of the potential hurdles or obstacles that could be in the way of keeping the team together. But now I'm going to ask you your opinion. Should they keep the group together?
I think you have to run it back. I mean, this group was so tight, and the closeness of this group was so important. I remember talking to people at just as the finals were wrapping up, and thinking, at the end of the summer last year, they had a chance to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think they'll still have that chance, right? These discussions are going to happen again. Do you revisit that? And I thought how different things would be if they would have somehow found a way to get that trade. Do they win this year without this group, with Giannis there and having to integrate him?
I mean, probably. I think
know.
so. If Giannis is healthy, yeah.
Maybe, probably, but all of that's the biggest question, right? It's just, do you take that next step, or do you just run it back? You won the first title in 53 years.
All right.
You deserve a chance to.
Now, ways they can add to this draft in a cost-effective way, add to this team in a cost-effective way, is the draft. So let's welcome in Sean Farnham. Sean, What do you think the Knicks can do or should do at 24?
Well, let's assume you look at the three guys that they would want to retain. Let's assume they can't retain all three, and they make the decision that they want to move past Mitchell Robinson. Well, then you're going to need size if you're going to compete in the Western Conference. And one guy that comes to mind for me is Henry Vasar. He's going to be available for them at the pick at 24. And you look at his numbers at North Carolina, he almost doubled his scoring average in his one season at Carolina than what they were at Arizona. He was ultra efficient around the rim, 76% field goal percentage from there, and he had the second best three-point field goal percentage in college basketball with anybody that was over 6'11" with a minimum of 50 attempts from deep. He led North Carolina in double-doubles with 15. I think you're looking at an older player, an experienced player that could come off the bench and be your backup big and provide that size that you're going to need to compete not only in the Eastern Conference, but once you get back to the NBA Finals if you get another crack at the Spurs or OKC.
And you could run similar things that you run with Cat because of his shooting prowess, as you mentioned, for sure. So thanks, Sean. Appreciate it. All right, Knicks legend Patrick Ewing, front and center at the parade. He might have been surprised, though, to see his number 33 jersey hanging from the rafters up there. That's actually Dylan Jones's name on there. He wore 33 during the preseason with the Wizards. And I'm going to need a correction on that, okay?
Yeah.
Come on. Can't do that. 33
Come on,
is pretty
details,
iconic.
people, details.
Yeah.
He's an employee of the team. He's a consultant.
Yeah. And your player Tyler Kolek didn't play in the finals, but he's still on the team. Check out this clip, NYPD stopping him. And he tweeted, "I swear I'm on the team, bro."
Oh, no.
By the way, I remember Austin Reeves' rookie year. I was at a Lakers game, and that happened to him
Poor
once.
Tyler.
So.
He played a pretty big role in the
But this is a big deal, right? Yeah, it's a parade.
He really did play.
All right, still to come. 5 days away, could Cam Boozer actually sneak his way into the top 2 of next week's draft? Our insiders break down why his stock may be rising at the right time. Plus, just how high are the stakes for Rob Pelinka this summer? I mentioned earlier, Dave McMenamin has new details on LA's offseason plans and how they could impact Luka and LeBron. And MJ, Kobe, LeBron, and now Duke's Cam Boozer. He's, of course, the son of former NBA All-Star Carlos Boozer. Dad entered the league as a second-round pick out of Duke, but turned that into a 13-year pro career. Our Hall of Famer Mark Spears caught up with both ESPN's Anscape to find out how Carlos is preparing his son for the next step.
I knew that this one was really special. You know, the resume speaks for itself. This is my biggest legacy.
Legendary, this is legacy.
When did you put a basketball in the Twins' hands? When was your first recollection of like trying to introduce them to the game?
Man, the womb, man. They was born into it, but they played everything. They just always gravitated towards basketball.
Did you have a choice in basketball?
A choice? For sure, yeah.
When did you fall in love with them?
I mean, probably early, like 3, 4, when we were just kids, not even really playing, not even like getting into like the real of the game. So